Alright, welcome back to the channel, guys. This video is going to be for the EOS community, and this is going to be a quick news style update. I wanted to talk about the CPU issues that we have been having on the EOS network. Block 1 has pushed out a couple proposals as far as ways to potentially mitigate these risks and allowing people to DDoS the network. So basically the way the EOS blockchain has worked up until this point is it's had a certain amount of resources that have been available, and basically to put it simply, if you were a user, if there was plenty of resources available to go around on the network and they weren't being utilized, any user could potentially jump on the network and utilize those resources without having to purchase EOS or those resources. Now they're kind of taking an opposite approach and wanting to make users pay for every single resource that they consume. In this way, it makes the blockchain a lot more predictable, and it sort of takes away a lot of that unpredictability, which makes things a lot easier as far as security goes. So I think it's actually a pretty positive development. So definitely that's a good thing. Number 2, I wanted to talk about ARM, Automated Resource Management through Chintai. Basically, if you didn't know, Chintai is a leasing service. They work with the EOS network, and they have a service called ARM now, which is going to allow dApps to pay for resources for their users. It actually works with the REX. So basically, Chintai buys from the REX CPU and net whenever users need it, if they're paying for the ARM service. And it's going to benefit both ecosystems. That's going to be good for REX stakeholders. They're going to be getting more returns now, as far as checks holders and people of the Chintai ecosystem, as well as the users. It should benefit because now, while we wait for all the features of 1.8, now dApp developers can use services like Chintai and save considerably on cost, as well as provide a much better user experience for dApps on the EOS network. Number 3, I wanted to talk about the stable liquidity pools that are now available on Bancor. So if you go to a website called CoTrader, you can basically create liquidity pools now. You can start becoming a liquidity provider. I'm a liquidity provider, just for disclosure. But what's cool about this is you can use stable tokens. You can use multiple stable tokens, and what that does is it pretty much mitigates risk. So basically, you have one stable token like DAI, for example, and the Bancor stable token, the USDB. Well, now if you put both of those in a liquidity pool, you have twice as much liquidity and half as much risk. Because if anything were to happen to the DAI, for example, okay, well, it would be balanced out by the other liquid token that is in your liquidity pool. And you could even put Tether. Tether is actually live on EOS now, and it is also live on the Bancor network. So Tether is an option that you can use in your liquidity pools. And basically, Bancor has been doing a lot of research. A lot of time has gone into making the decision to do the liquidity pools like this. And what's unique about the USDB, their Bancor's stable token, is that staking it inside the pool automatically makes you liquid to the rest of the Bancor network. So that is a huge utility and a huge functionality. So I could see that token gaining in popularity and possibly being even listed on big centralized exchanges that do millions of dollars in volume every day. So that's definitely something to pay attention to. And yeah, guys, if you want to experiment with that, I'm gonna make sure to put the link in the description box below. You can mess around with liquidity pools, start earning, become a liquidity provider. Just play around with it, because this is a good way to introduce yourself into the DeFi system. December, Bancor is having an airdrop that is going to add 60,000 users into the DeFi system that just weren't in the system before. There's not many DeFi users right now, but Bancor is really leading the way and getting more people to earn in a decentralized way. And this is a huge step in becoming your own bank and becoming, in control of your own finances. So I'm really excited about that. Last thing I wanted to talk about was Tim Cook. So Tim Cook, he is like the CEO of Apple, I believe. He came out and said that he doesn't believe that cryptocurrencies should be made by companies. He basically said he doesn't agree with what Libra is trying to accomplish, and he's saying that Apple will not have its own cryptocurrency, even though they already have their own card, and it would make sense. I think they would save a lot of money if they went to some sort of blockchain infrastructure, and I'm pretty sure he will do something like that because it's just a matter of time. So one thing I wanted to point out is, like, don't listen to what people say. Like, just because he is the chief executive officer of Apple or whatever the case may be, and he's saying something negative today, that doesn't mean that he can't completely do a 180 and say something completely positive a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year from now. Like, we've seen it with JP Morgan Chase. Like, we've seen it so many times in the space that it's like, you can't trust what these people say. You know what I mean? He has a what do you call it? Like, he has a duty to sort of like say stuff like this to protect shareholders, to protect people of the company, to just kind of like, the government is watching him. You got to realize there's a lot of eyes on a person like Tim Cook. When you're a CEO of a company like that, there's a lot of eyes on you. So he has to say certain things until more clarity comes out, till more regulatory clarity comes out. And I guarantee you, opinions can change. Even if he genuinely feels this way today, there's no reason that he can't see a world where, a company could have a cryptocurrency. Like, I've said it before on the record, I personally don't see any problem with Libra or anything like that. That's just my opinion. I believe in a true free market. It's that period. It's that simple, really. So there's no reason that we shouldn't allow companies to create cryptocurrencies. There's no reason that creating currency has to be a reserved benefit for governments. There's no reason for that. Like, we should all have the option to choose how we want to handle our business and what currency we want to transact in. This is my opinion. So I was a little disappointed in Tim Cook, but like I said, stuff changes. I take this with a grain of salt, and we'll see what happens in the future. But that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.